never liked the ocean. Don't get me wrong, I went to the beach like everyone else. Barbecues, volleyball, beer in hand, music playing from someone's Bluetooth speaker. But I never really relaxed when I was near the water. It always felt too big, too empty and alive at the same time. That weekend was supposed to be a reunion. Me, Sean, Priya, and Lucas. We'd been inseparable in college, but life got in the way after graduation. Work, relationships, moving across cities. But somehow we all agreed to a beach weekend after almost 6 years. We booked an old Airbnb near a semi-secluded beach in Northern California. Rustic wooden floors, a wraparound porch, and the constant hum of waves hitting the shore. It was peaceful, or at least it should have been. Day 1. We arrived late Friday evening. The owner, a soft-spoken older woman named Marla, handed us the keys and gave a few quick warnings. "Don't walk too far after sunset," she said. "The sand shifts strange here." We all laughed about it once she left. Lucas even mocked her in a spooky voice. "Beware the shifting sand," which cracked everyone up. Typical Lucas. We unpacked, grilled food, played cards, and passed around drinks on the porch while the waves echoed in the background. Around midnight, I stepped outside to smoke and clear my head. I looked at the beach, now silver and pale under the moonlight, and I saw something. At first, I thought it was just a large rock, but it moved, slowly, crawling. I squinted and stepped closer. It was a figure, human-sized. It was dragging itself across the beach, sinking into the sand slightly with each movement, like it weighed too much. I blinked and it was gone, just gone. No footprints, no drag marks, nothing. I didn't tell the others. Day 2. We spent most of Saturday on the beach. Lucas and Sean were in the water playing like kids again. Priya was sunbathing and I was lying under the umbrella, watching the waves but not quite feeling part of it. That's when I noticed the sand. It wasn't just shifting like the wind brushing over it. It looked like it was breathing. I know how crazy that sounds, but I swear, certain patches of sand rose and fell slowly, like a slow, controlled breath. Like the beach was alive beneath us. I looked around. No one else noticed. Later that afternoon, Lucas disappeared. At first we thought he went for a walk, but as the sun started dipping, we grew worried. We checked the house, the shoreline, the woods nearby. Nothing. His phone was still on the porch. We called the cops. They said to wait until morning. That night I barely slept. Around 3 a.m. I woke to a sound. Sand shifting. Slowly. Methodically. I walked out onto the porch and saw the beach glowing slightly. An unnatural bluish tint like bioluminescent algae. But that wasn't what froze me. Out there at the far end of the beach, a hand was sticking out of the sand. Just one pale hand, motionless, fingers curled slightly. When I blinked, it was gone. Day 3. Police came in the morning. No signs of Lucas. They treated it like a routine missing persons case. Maybe he wandered off. Maybe he's just cooling off. They didn't understand. He wouldn't just leave like that. He was the loud one, the heart of the group. He loved attention, loved being seen. But now, he was just gone. Later, Priya screamed. We rushed to the beach, where she'd found something sticking out of the sand near the waterline. It was Lucas's bracelet, a thick leather band he never took off. Half buried, damp. We dug, with our hands frantically throwing sand everywhere. But we didn't find anything. That night I sat alone on the porch while Sean and Priya tried to call his parents. I stared out at the beach again. Same spot, and this time I saw 2 figures. One was crouching, digging. The other stood beside it, tall, lean, unmoving. The one digging looked like Lucas. Same hair, same hoodie, but his movements were too jerky, too unnatural, like his joints didn't quite work anymore. The other figure, I couldn't see its face, just the outline of it, and I swear its arms were too long. I whispered Lucas's name. The digging stopped. Both figures slowly turned to look at me, and then just like before, they vanished. Day 4. I wanted to leave. Now. Sean thought I was losing it. Priya didn't say much. She just stared out the window, pale, holding Lucas's bracelet like a lifeline. Around noon, while Sean was on the phone with the cops again, Priya came to me. She'd found something strange buried in the sand behind the house. A small rusted tin box. Inside were 4 Polaroid photos, all of us. Not from the weekend, from the future. I was in one, standing on the porch, eyes wide in terror. Sean was in another, half buried in the sand, reaching up. Priya's photo showed her standing in the water, back turned, while a figure loomed behind her. The last photo was blank, just sand. We packed up that minute. No more arguing, no more waiting. But as we pulled away from the house, I looked in the rearview mirror just once, and on the porch, watching us, was the tall, long-limbed figure. No face, just empty skin stretched where features should have been. That was 3 years ago. Lucas was never found. The police closed the case. Sean refuses to talk about it, moved back to the East Coast, changed his number. Priya tried therapy. She doesn't go near water anymore. And me? I live inland, far from any coastline. But every year, on the exact same weekend, I get a photo in the mail. It was supposed to be a reset. After the divorce, I needed space. From the city, the noise, the reminders. So I rented a small cabin near the coast for a week. Just me, some books, my camera, and a lot of silence. The beach wasn't exactly scenic. It was one of those forgotten places, no tourists, no kids building sandcastles. Just long stretches of empty shoreline, damp fog, and this weird old lifeguard stand that sat at the center of the beach. Tall, wooden, and weather-worn. There were no lifeguards here anymore. I found that out from a local diner waitress. "Nobody uses that beach," she said casually. "Not since the incident back in 2001. I asked her what happened, and she just shrugged. Teenagers. One went missing. You know how stories go. But it wasn't just the story that stuck with me. It was the way she said it. Like she wanted to move on, but something about it still bothered her. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing something outside, soft crunching in the sand. But when I looked, there was nothing. Just fog and the distant silhouette of that damn lifeguard stand. Day 2. I decided to go check out the stand. Maybe take some photos. The place had that haunted beauty vibe. The kind of thing people would double tap on Instagram without knowing why it felt unsettling. As I got closer, I noticed something off. The wood around the base of the stand looked darker, wetter than it should have been, like it was bleeding from the inside. I touched one of the legs and immediately yanked my hand away. It was warm, not sun-warmed, body temperature warm, like something alive was inside it. I laughed nervously, told myself I was imagining it. I climbed up anyway. At the top, the air felt heavier. The view was endless fog rolling over gray waves. But in the corner of the platform there was a notebook, moldy but still intact. I opened it. Page 1. "If you're reading this, you shouldn't be here." The rest of the pages were dated entries, July 2001. They were written by someone named Ryan, apparently the lifeguard that summer. The entries started normal. Sunny days, boring shifts, small talk with beachgoers. Then things got strange. Saw her again today, standing in the surf. Black bathing suit, hair covering her face. Doesn't move, just stares at the tower. Third day in a row. She disappears when I blink. No one else sees her. I asked. They laughed. But she's there. Every day. I saw her up here last night, inside the tower. No footprints in the sand, no sound, just there. Then the entries stopped. Day 3. I couldn't stop thinking about the notebook. I took it with me. That night I dreamt of the ocean swallowing the tower whole. But in the dream, it wasn't water pulling it down. It was hair. Long, soaked black strands rising. I woke up sweating. It was 2:38 a.m. I stepped outside. The beach was dead silent, but the lifeguard stand was lit up. A faint yellow glow like an old flashlight was turned on from within. I stared for a long time, then the light turned off. Instantly, no fading, just gone. The next morning I walked to the stand again. It looked the same. Still cold, wooden, quiet. But now there was a new note on the bottom step, written in the same handwriting from the notebook. She doesn't like to be seen. Don't come back after dark. Day 4. I tried to stay away. I really did. But something about that tower, it was pulling at me. I walked down around sunset, not to climb, just to look. And there she was, standing knee-deep in the water, arms limp at her sides, black bathing suit, hair down her face, just like in the notebook. I stood still, didn't move. She did. Slowly, so slowly, she raised her head. I saw her face, or I saw what should have been a face. There were no eyes, just 2 small openings like nostrils. Her mouth was too wide, stretching across where her jaw should have been, curling at the corners. And then she pointed at me, not with her hand, but with her entire body. Her torso bent backwards unnaturally, one arm flailing in the direction of the lifeguard stand. I ran. I packed to leave. But when I opened the car, there was sand on the passenger seat, and on the dashboard another note. You saw her. You belong to her now. I called the police. They brushed me off, said it was probably a prank, offered to send a unit, but nothing happened when they arrived. That night I locked all the doors, curtains drawn, lights on. I didn't sleep. At 3:12 a.m., I heard the creak, not from inside, from the lifeguard stand, like someone was climbing it. Slowly. I didn't move, couldn't move. Then the notebook, sitting on my nightstand, flipped its pages on its own, right to the final blank page. And words appeared, written slowly, one letter at a time. She's coming up behind you. Aftermath. I survived. I don't know how. Maybe because I never turned around, I just ran out the door, into my car, and drove without stopping until I saw streetlights again. I left the notebook on the side of the highway somewhere in Big Sur. I didn't want it near me. That was last summer. But just last week, I found a Polaroid taped to my front door. It showed the lifeguard stand. I wasn't supposed to be alone. It was meant to be a weekend reunion. Me, David, and Rima. College friends who drifted after life took us in different directions. We booked a beach rental, simple place near the dunes. Nothing fancy, just sand, seafood, and stories by the fire. But the morning we were supposed to leave, both of them bailed. David's daughter got sick. Rima had a last-minute work crisis. They begged me to reschedule, but the deposit was non-refundable, and honestly, I needed the break. So I went alone. In hindsight, I should have taken that as a sign. The house was old but clean. Quiet, too quiet. No neighbors, no streetlights, just wind and waves. I dropped my bag, cracked a beer, and walked barefoot to the beach. The sand was cold, even in early May. The sky was that faded blue, the kind you only see near the ocean. A few seagulls hovered, but no people. That was the first thing I noticed. No one else was around. No joggers, no tourists, no families, just miles of empty beach. I laid down my towel, stretched out, and closed my eyes. I must have dozed off. When I opened my eyes, the light had shifted. It was golden hour now. But something was off. My towel was gone. Not blown away, not dragged by the tide, just gone. I sat up, confused. The sand beneath me was smooth, untouched. I looked around. No footprints, no drag marks. Just my cooler, still there, untouched, and the exact spot where my towel had been, completely flat, like no one had ever laid anything there. I looked behind me toward the house, suddenly uneasy. Had someone taken it? Why? Back at the rental, I tried to brush it off. Weird things happen at the beach. Wind, water, maybe even a prank. But when I went to sleep that night, I couldn't stop thinking about it. That feeling of erasure, not theft, erasure. Day 2. I decided to let it go. Walked the shore, collected a few shells, took some pictures. That's when I saw it. About half a mile down the coast, near a dead patch of dunes, I spotted something bright blue tangled around a half-buried driftwood post. My towel. Exactly how I had left it. Same pattern, same tiny bleach stain in the corner. But now it was wet, soaking. And the strange part, it wasn't salt water. It smelled sweet, almost like syrup. I touched it, and I heard footsteps behind me. I turned fast. Nothing, just wind and empty beach. I looked back down, and the towel was dry again. The dream started that night. I was lying on the beach again, but this time, I couldn't move. And there were footprints, hundreds of them, circling me, getting closer. And a voice whispering in the wind, "It's not yours." I woke up in a cold sweat. My phone was dead, not low, completely dead, despite being at 82% when I went to sleep. I plugged it in, wouldn't charge. Then I heard it again, footsteps on the deck. I waited. Silence. I crept to the window. There was something standing in the sand, covered in towels, layered like fabric, like it had wrapped itself in a dozen beach towels of all colors, just standing there, facing the house. It didn't move, not for 10 minutes. Then it collapsed, straight down like it had no bones. The towels just lay there in the sand. I was ready to leave, but when I walked outside, my car was gone. Not stolen, just gone, like it had never been there. No tire tracks, no oil spots, nothing. I ran back into the house, tried to call someone, phone still dead, no signal. I turned on the Wi-Fi, the network was named Forgotten Towel 0413. That wasn't there before. I connected. Instantly a pop-up opened on my screen. Just one sentence. "You left it. It remembers." And a photo of me, sleeping on the sand, taken from above. I don't know how to explain what happened next. Time got strange. It felt like the day was repeating. Same light, same seagull patterns. Even the waves sounded the same. I walked the shore, and every 100 steps or so my towel would appear, lying there, or hanging from a branch or twisted in seaweed. Each time I got close, it would vanish, not fly away, just blink out. And then the voices started, sometimes soft, sometimes clear. "You left it. You forgot us. You are never alone." I found a photo buried in the sand. My friends Rima and David, smiling with me on that same beach. But that picture never happened. They didn't come. And in the photo, I wasn't smiling. I was staring at something just outside the frame. When I flipped the photo over, something was scrawled in faded ink. "The sand never forgets." The final night, I stayed up, kept every light on. At midnight, every bulb burst. Total darkness. Then from outside, shh, not the ocean, breathing. I looked out the window. The beach was covered in beach towels, thousands of them, laid out flat in rows like graves, each with a name stitched into the corner. I ran out, flashlight shaking. I found mine in the third row, but the name stitched into it wasn't mine. It was Rima Bhatia, and the one beside it said David L. King. Then the next one, you. I woke up in a hospital. They said I was found unconscious near the dunes, severely dehydrated. I asked about my car. They said I never drove. I asked about the rental. They said it was condemned 2 years ago. I showed them the photos. They were gone. Just black screens now. I reached for my bag, and at the bottom was my towel, folded neatly, still damp.